This is the Bible Ranger, and the topic is saving money, Stewardship Part 1, Episode 6. It's going to be about budgeting. Now, I had a friend ask me, why are you calling it Prepared for Hard Times? The reason why, this whole series here, it will be about that, but I believe this COVID-19 will be used for control and possibly affect the food chain or the supply chain of these stores coming up, and it can take us by surprise. So I'm trying to prevent that. All right, the rule about money. Doesn't the Bible say that money is evil? Well, actually it says in 1 Timothy 6:10, it says that the love of money is the root of all evil, or all kinds of evil. Money is not evil, it's actually amoral. However, it magnifies what's already in you. If you have evil tendencies, and now you have money, it's just going to be more prevalent. However, the same money that can be used for buying drugs can be used for putting up an orphanage. All right, we need a change of mindset here. We need to wake up from a certain matrix of the thinking. Remember the movie where he wakes up, he thought he was living a regular life, Neo, and he wakes up and he sees that all these humans are being used as batteries, and it's like reality check. That's kind of what's happening to us today. We have this idea in general that, we deserve it. You have to have it now, YOLO, which means you only live once. That attitude, by the way, will get you into trouble financially. Now, statistically, the average American is watching 5 hours a day on television. That's hard to believe, I understand. But we need to be intellectually honest here. If you know more about Dancing with the Stars or The Island or The Voice or whatever shows they got out there, more than your 401k, we need a new mindset and new results. All right, so changing your mindset. If I was to tell you that you could retire a millionaire, do you think about these guys here? Well, in 2019, we actually had, I don't know the exact number now, but we had 18,600,000 millionaires in the United States. That's a lot of people, but most of them look like this. Now, the average income is about 58K. That number keeps changing, but approximately. So each person makes a little bit less than $15 per hour. And even with that money, you can still retire a millionaire. In 40 years of work, your household will make $2.3 million. That's a lot of money. Now, what you're going to do with it is another thing. Nearly half of the world lives on $5 a day, according to World Bank Group. That's incredible. And if you were to take it down to 1/3 of the people of the whole world, they live on $2 a day. Incredible. All right, so definition of millionaire. A person whose assets are worth $1 million or more. So, for example, if you worked 40 years from now, your house is worth $350,000. He has made $250,000 in his 401k. She has made in her 401k $250K in his 401k. And all your bank accounts and investments and cars and collectibles, everything come out to an additional $150,000. Guess what? That comes out to $1 million. And of course, you subtract from everything you have and everything you owe, and you come up with that $1 million, you are a millionaire by definition. All right, meetings of the minds. So, since we're a team, husband and wife here, this is what we got to do. You have a meeting, you pray about it, and say, Lord, help us with this. Help us not to kill each other, because it's a little stressful. All right, in most couples, you have a nerd counterpart, which is usually the person who deals with numbers and is organized more than the other. And the other person is free-spirited, the spender. That can go the male, the female, doesn't matter. I'll probably use the male as the nerd here. So the nerd writes the budget, and he's going to be excited. He's going to be licking his chops. He might have a little bead of sweat on his forehead because he loves doing this. Now the free-spirited looks over the budget that the nerd's made, but the nerd has to be quiet. That's it. She don't want to hear from you. Just be quiet. And then the nerd has to explain whatever details he has. Make it short and sassy, because after a few minutes, the free spirit, it mentally checks out. She's not even listening to what you're saying. Now the free spirit must make a change, one change on the budget. And of course, the nerd has to deal with that. That's just part of the way it works. Now in Ephesians chapter 5, verses 21 to 25, if there's been surveys, and if a husband prefers one thing over anything else, is respect from his wife. Of course, he wants love too, but respect is king for him. Oops. And the wife prefers love from her husband more than anything else. Of course, there's exceptions, but in general, that's just the way it is. Now, why do we need a budget? This is the budget will make you the boss of your money. And you're going to tell the money where to go, instead of all this time your money is just making you crazy, borrowing from here to there because you don't know what's going on. Now, the budget will also amplify, like, look, this section needs attention, or you need to fix this, add more money, or take away more money from it. Now, write down simply on a piece of paper, scratch pad, and a pen, or you can get fancy and do an Excel on your computer, or you can do, like I said last video, you can do the Every Dollar app from Dave Ramsey. It's free. Whatever you want. That's up to you. Don't worry, in about 3 months, you're going to be an expert, because there will be some adjustments that needs to be made on this. And that's okay. That's perfectly normal. Now, encourage each other. Remember, you can wander into debt, but you're not going to wander out. This is your plan for your particular family. In Hebrews 12:11, it says this. It says, discipline is painful at first, but later it produces the fruit of peace. So, at first, this is going to hurt a little bit. It's going to be irritating. You might get a little bit argument. Okay, but it's going to get better. And you're going to love it once you have it in control. And since I'm a stickler for interpreting the Bible correctly, if you were to read this Hebrews chapter 12, it actually is talking about holiness. But there's an application to this verse that can also be used for finance. Now make sure that every dollar has a name. All right, this is a budget here. I was going to try to write it down as we spoke, but that took way too long. So here we go. He makes $1,600 a month, and she makes $1,600 a month. They equal $3,200 total for that month. We'll just call it June, no matter. You don't have to use this form. There's plenty of forms. Search one out, or a scratch pad is fine. Now the mortgage is $1,000. Food is $500. That depends how many kids you have. You don't have any kids. Utility, I'm calling it electricity basically. I say it's $300. And others would be your cable, your insurance for the house, whatever. I'm just putting it out here. Now, believe it or not, the average car payment is $500 a month. This is for a new car. Gas is approximately $400 a month. Insurance is about $100. Now, your credit card bills is about $200. Now, if you want to know more about how to pay off your bills, look at the last video we made. Now, your income is $3,200, but your bills are $3,300. You are in the negative for $100. This is not going to work. Okay, one thing I definitely suggest is not to get a new car. Get a very good, dependable, somewhere in the range of $2,000 car up to $5,000 car, which will make your payment way less. So I would definitely recommend that. I can afford a new car. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to buy. Matter of fact, a car uses its value, depreciates like 60 to 70% in about 4 years. So think about that. So we have that going on. And we have, don't forget the emergency fund here of $1,000. All right, so you'll have to change some things here to make your budget work. But at the end, you want this to end up to be zero. Any extra money that you end up here, you want it to go into credit cards and paying off your bills. All right, budget tips. Stop impulse buying. Okay, one thing that might help you to control yourself is just wait it out for 30 days. Okay, this is if something's not in your budget and you really want it, okay? But Just wait 30 days. Some people say out there that you freeze your credit cards, you make it difficult to get to your cards, and that'll control you a little bit. Dave Ramsey says you shouldn't even have a credit card. He likes you to have debit cards. All right, don't go food shopping when you're hungry because you know you're just going to buy more. Write a list of things that you're going to shop for before you actually go shopping. That really helps out. You just cross them out as you buy. Act your wage. If you are one of the average people making $58K a year, don't live out $100,000 life, okay? You'll get there. But if you're not there now, act your wage. All right, use cash. This is really important. When you use cash, you spend less money, and we'll talk about this in the future episode. You use less money, and also credit card doesn't give you any pain receptors. You don't feel it. You just start swiping, and matter of fact, you might even think you're doing yourself a favor because you might be accumulating points. No, use cash. You'll thank yourself later. All right, convert an item that you want to buy into like an hourly wage. For example, you want to buy a $500 television. You go, okay, I make $10 an hour. That equates to 50 hours of work. 50 hours of work is working from Monday to Friday. You worked all day Saturday and then 2 extra hours on the next Monday. And you're going, do I really need this television? It just gives you something to think about. And also take responsibility for your actions. Stop blaming somebody else. You got yourself in this mess, in most cases, and you can get yourself out. All right, Proverbs 12:1. The Bible says, if you love discipline, you love knowledge. The King James says it a little different, but this is basically what it means. Budgeting is actually very biblical. In the book of Genesis, chapter 47, Joseph, once he became second in command, because he had to interpret the dream that 7 years of plenty is 7 years of famine, he had to budget, he had to oversee the grain of Egypt. Also Nehemiah, after the 70 years of the Jews being in captivity, he went to King Artaxerxes and the officials for funding. He had to write down what he needed and a plan. And they were impressed and they helped him out. And that was actually an answer to his prayer. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8, verse 18, it says that God gives us the power to create wealth. And I say that because sometimes when you're a good provider, sometimes that pride wants to come in there, and God gives us that power, but we also need to be thankful. Now, other financial topics that we're going to cover in the coming next couple, buying the best type of life insurance, paying your mortgage much faster, credit score, we're going to be talking about that, making extra money tips, saving more money tips, scholarships for the children. I mean, that's going to be great, maybe for you, jobs for the teenagers. And of course, first things first, in Matthew 6:33, it says, first seek the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Never forget your spiritual life is more important than this temporal life that we have here. And if you found this video to be helpful, please subscribe, thumbs up, and share it. This is the Bible Ranger, making the Bible simple, but yet rich in content. Thank you very much.